Hey everybody, I hope you all are doing well and welcome back to Whiskey Wonders. And today, seeing as though it is the end of the month, we are doing our haul for the month of September, where we get to highlight some of the bottles that we got, some of the bottles that we didn't get to show or didn't fit in any of our wonders, and some bottles that just never got a chance to talk about because of the timing. And this one is going to be an extraordinary heavy hitter. Even though we didn't get a ton of bottles this month, we got a lot of top level bourbons that we brought back from Paris and spent top dollar on them. So things like Pappy 23, Old Rip Van Winkle 10, and really so much more. Now, before we get to the video, if you like these videos, though, if you like the wonders, if you like the hauls, if you like the reviews, the unbottlings, the unboxings, and really all the amazing stuff that we got cooking up for you, don't forget to like and subscribe because it does really help the channel to grow. And we are so thankful for that. But also because you get updates when our newest videos come out on Sundays, when our other videos, our shorts, come out sort of in between, and when our other videos come out, you know, whenever they come out. All right, so let's start today off with a whiskey check here and get a glass. And, you know, I think today I'm going to be enjoying something that seems a bit counterintuitive, as though we are kind of in the very end of summer. But just to get ready for it, I think I'm going to be enjoying some of this Midwinter's Night Dram. Oh, yeah. So see if we can get a pop here. Turn it over. Get it evenly distributed on both sides. See if we can get a pop. Maybe next time. It's too loose in there. All right, and now that we got some juice to whiskey, because really, honestly, you can never drink too much of it. You can only just really drink it too fast. Cheers. Wintry. All right, so first up for this haul are going to be 3 bottles that we brought back from Old Paris, and they were really the highlight of the trip, even though it's pretty stressful, honestly, to Sherpa these bottles back home. But I generally found that being able to get a great bourbon in Paris is a little tiny bit easier than back home here in Los Angeles, or maybe even in the USA in general. The great thing about Paris is that there are plenty of bourbon lovers. There is plenty of whiskey shops, and it's just not so competitive that all the bourbon gets snatched up before you ever even see them on the shelves. Now, the first of these bottles that we did bring back that was almost impossible to find in the US, which is going to be this Old Rip Van Winkle 10. So let's excavate this one out of here nicely, not to damage the labels there. Ooh, look at that. That is a good looking bottle. Now, the Old Rip 10 is a high ABV version of the entry level into the Pappy line. And yes, I know it is technically not a Pappy Van Winkle. I get that. But it does come from the Buffalo Trace Distillery. It is also from the same mash bill, the wheated mash bill from Buffalo Trace, which puts it in the same genus as some of the other great Buffalo Trace offerings, the Pappies, of course, but as well as the William LaRue Weller and even the standard Weller line. This is the second of the Old Rip Van Winkles that we've gotten, even in this year, in fact. And as you may have seen in our other What's in the Box video, where the wife had got this one from overseas, shipped to us in the United States. This one, we actually went to pick up in person. In addition to that, you know, we got to see the beautiful city of Paris and eat a whole garden worth of snails in the process. So garlicky. Now, obviously, the Old Rip Van Winkle 10 is aged 10 years. It has an ABV of 53.5% or 107 proof, which is pretty good. And we got this one for 725 euros, which when we translate that into dollars or to USD, it comes out to $794.93. So yeah, we were real happy to get this one, and it worked out to be the second one of the year, which also means that now we can actually pop open some of these bourbons and see if the Pappy really does live up to the hype. So that is the Old Rip Van Winkle 10. Super excited to have it, and yeah, I'm even more excited because now we can open it up. Now, next up is another bourbon out of the Pappy family. And no, again, it is not technically a real Pappy, but it is sure a lot easier to find than a real Pappy. Let's see if we can get it pulled out of here without doing too much damage to the bottle. And really interestingly enough, this one is going to be kind of a counterpoint at the entry level for the old Rip Van Winkle, because it is really a lot different. It is different on the palate, it's different on the ABV, and it's even kind of sort of different in its disposition and demeanor. A very nice juxtaposition, if you will, of the old Rip Van Winkle 10, which is going to be this Van Winkle Family Reserve 12-year-old bourbon, also known as the Lot B. Now, like I said, this is yet another entry into the Pappy lines, and this is also the second of these bottles that we have been able to get to procure this year, which also means that we can get the green light to give this one a try as well and see how it compares to the old Rip 10, and maybe how it compares to some of the other higher level Pappies that we have tried. It too is a member of the wheated Buffalo Trace mash bill family of the Pappy line. And I think one of the biggest difference between the old Rip 10 and the Van Winkle Reserve is the fact that the ABV is quite lower. It's at 45.2% rather than at 53.5%. The alleged mash bill for this one, and I guess all the wheated ones, is at 70% corn, 16% wheat, and 14% malted barley, and is aged in virgin American white oak casks. If you want to watch all the details on it, you can definitely check it out in our What's in the Box, because it is a similar one. But either way, we were real excited to have the second bottle added to the collection, which means it's going to be open season on some Pappies here in the not so distant future. And the thing is, I really do like this bottle in contrast. In fact, sitting next to the old Rip, just because as the old Rip is so chaotic, the Van Winkle Family Reserve is so squared away, so neat and tidy. But the thing that is different, in addition to the ABV and a difference to the demeanor, is also the price. Because we got this one in Paris as well for 750 euros, which turns out to be $822.34 in today's USD prices. So that is the Van Winkle Family Reserve 12 Lot B, the number 2 bottle. And yeah, real excited to have it. And I'm going to add it to our Van Winkle collection and start drinking it too. All right, so next up is a bottle that we've been searching for quite some time and realistically is going to be the star of this haul. And it is one that, these ones are Pappies, but they're not real Pappies, right? And this next one is actually going to be a real Pappy because it is the Pappy 23. Let's see if we can get this one out here without doing too much damage. Get this one out. And, I think we definitely spent a lot of money on this one, and we'll get to that in a sec. But I think we also spent less money and less hassle if we were to calculate it out into money than we would have if we had to go, buy it at Sotheby's or schmooze a mom and pop liquor store or a liquor manager somewhere. Ultimately, the time and the energy to put into it is going to be less for what we got this one for. Especially because the other thing that I love most is that we didn't have to camp out overnight for it either. So let's take a look at that. Yeah, oh, that's tight. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Pappy 23. Now, like I said, Pappy 23 is a real deal, no BS Pappy. It's not a Pappy that's not a Pappy. It's a real Pappy that is a real Pappy. And it is the top of the standard Pappy Van Winkle line, at least from the ones that are still in production. It too has a wheated mash bill. It is aged 23 years old, and it is highly allocated, highly hyped, and of course, highly overpriced. Now, I'm not going to say that we got it at a fair price because I don't think we did, because we got it for 3,190 euros, which when we translate that into USD into dollars, comes out to $3,497.68. So yes, it was highway robbery. We got highway robbed. But the thing is, back in LA, to get a bottle like this, basically you'd either have to win a lottery or you'd have to buy mass amounts of whiskey from a mom and pop that you don't really want and would never drink and wouldn't even give away to your friends. So ultimately, I think the price is fair, especially because, you don't have to deal with all the whiskey lovers. So that's a nice benefit as well. So this one was a bit of a splurge. I get it. We were out traveling around, and I think a lot of you will know that feeling as well, once you're out and about, sometimes money doesn't seem, especially when it's those euros, it doesn't even look like real money, right? It looks like Monopoly money. It's hard to say. It's easy to spend a lot of extra money on there. But this is going to be probably one of the most expensive bourbons that we have in our collection, and hopefully the most tasty in the collection as well. So I'm still very happy to get it. It'll look great on the bar up here. That is the Pappy Van Winkle 23. All right, and next up, after all that excitement, and to not get so bourbon-centric on the channel, the next whiskey up is one that I did find while we were back here in the United States at Costco, no less, next to another amazing Japanese whiskey. And this is probably one of the favorite ones that I have out of the everyday line of drinkers from Nikka, which is the Nikka from the Barrel. Now, the Nikka from the Barrel is actually what is called a world whiskey, which means it has a pretty wide range of blends and regions of whiskey mixed inside there, including Canadian, American, Japanese, and some Scotch varietals as well. It doesn't have an age statement on it, but one of the things that I do like most of it, and it is relatively uncharacteristic for a Japanese whiskey, is the ABV, because the ABV on this one is at 51.4%. Which is very, very healthy. Again, unlike the Hakushus and the Hibikis and the Yamazakis that are slightly more nuanced in their approach to whiskey, the Nikka from the Barrel is a nice smack in the face. Also important to mention is that it is not technically Japanese whiskey. So although it does come from a Japanese whiskey maker, it is a blend of whiskeys from around the world, and I'm definitely okay with that. Nikka in general does have some pretty great Japanese market target whiskeys, like any of the age statement Nikkas, or even the Yochis or Miyajikyos. But this one, along with the coffee malt and the coffee grains, I really do think that they are designed specifically for a Western palate in mind. The flavors are bold, outspoken, and paired with an over ABV'd proof on it, which of course is right up the alley of most Western drinkers, and maybe even more specifically American drinkers. But yeah, we got this one from Costco for $58.99, which is a very, very good price, a price that is hard to pass up. And it is a great, amazing upscale daily drinker with enough ABV to really make it count. So that is the Nikka from the Barrel. It's not super amazing or allocated, but I really do like it and happy to have it part of the collection because we are running low, and that is always a sad day. All right, last up for this haul is a whiskey that you may have seen in one of our wanders this month. Is when I went to Total Wine, not intending to buy really anything, just to kind of check everything out. And I guess that's usually how things end up happening, that you end up buying something. But I got sucked into a sales presentation by the floor guy, who was actually not even talking to me. He was hyping it up to two other guys, which is this 1792 full proof Total Wine Barrel Select. Now, I do see a fair amount of these barrel selects around from 1792, so it doesn't seem like they are too picky about who they go barreling with, because there are some local grocery stores who have it, some local whiskey purveyors who also has it, maybe even Costco, although I don't recall seeing a Costco 1792 barrel select, but doesn't mean it doesn't happen. But that being said, the one really truly defining aspect of the 1792 is the fact that it is a foolproof. So what does foolproof mean? Well, how 1792 defines it, it is a bit squirrely, but basically it is the ABV of the whiskey when it goes into the barrel, but not the ABV at the proof that it is when it comes out of the barrel after the angels take their share, because it is oftentimes higher. It is distilled at the Barton's 1792 distillery, which is in Kentucky, and although they do share the same supreme corporate bourbon overlord, Sazerac, with Buffalo Trace, there doesn't seem to be much overlap between the two as far as whiskey production and manufacturing goes. The ABV on the 1792 full proof is quite healthy at 62.5% ABV, or that's 125 proof. Ooh, blow your hair back, huh? It's got a mash bill of 74% corn, 18% rye, and 8% barley. And as you can see, we have not had a chance to open it up as it is still sealed. But I think it's important to mention that the reviews that I did find on it basically say that it is all ABV and nothing else. So, I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, but just if one is looking for a sophisticated rather than a horsepower-based bourbon, then the 1792 is probably going to be barking up the wrong tree, because it's 100% horsepower. But I'm still glad we got it, and it has got a good ABV at a fairly reasonable price. We got it for $48.99, $2.99 at Total Wine. It is a single barrel. I don't know if that really matters that much. I've never paid much credence to it, but it's definitely got a cool little sticker on it. And the great thing about it is this one we can do a side-by-side flight with some of the other 1792s that we have gotten before, as well as the 1792 or the Barton 1792 Kirkland brands that we got from Costco as well. This is the single barrel. It has a little bit lower proof at 120 proof. They're sneaking out 5 proof points on us, but yeah, it'll be interesting to really compare those. I'm happy we picked this one up, even if I wasn't intending to get it at the time. All right, so that's it for our September whiskey haul, and I really do hope that you enjoyed this video. And in fact, I hope that you enjoyed all of our videos, whether it is the wanders or the hauls or the reviews or the unbottlings, the unboxings, and really all the amazing stuff that we got cooking up for you, because we have tons of amazing stuff cooking up for you. And if you do, please don't forget to like and subscribe, because it does help the channel so much. And again, we are so thankful for that. But also because you do get updates when our newest videos come out on Sundays. You get updates when our shorts come out sort of randomly, and you get updates when our other videos come out sometimes in between. All right, now, just remember before I go, if you do find a whiskey that you love, even if it's overpriced by a lot, just buy it. Because if you don't, somebody else surely will. And in this case, it might even be moi. All right, everybody, have a great rest of your week. I'm out, and adios.